Hello, my name is Lyle Dilly. Welcome to the Healing Arizona Veterans Virtual Fundraiser. I am an Army veteran who served during the Iraq War from 2003 to 2005. Healing Arizona Veterans is a charitable organization that receives private donations to provide life-changing treatment to brain-injured veterans, including PTSD and traumatic brain injury, or TBI. The treatment utilizes hyperbaric oxygen therapy and adjunctive therapies. These therapies are not approved or offered currently by the VA for these conditions, which is why we need your donations. Your donations are used to treat veterans at 2 private facilities, one in Phoenix and the other in Tucson. At the end of this video, you will be provided with information on how to donate. You will now hear the testimonials of veterans treated with this therapy and how it has changed their lives. Christopher, veteran, U.S. Army, U.S. Marines, Tucson, Arizona.
I was a staff sergeant in the Army. I did 15 years before I was medically retired. I was an engineer, so I was exposed to many blasts and explosions that have caused many concussions. In 2008, I was injured in an IED blast that flipped over my Humvee, but I was dismounted at the time, so it threw me about 15 meters back. I'm not sure because it was dragged away, and I was knocked out. That blast gave me a traumatic brain injury, injured my neck and back. I got carpal tunnel from holding onto my weapon and a mine detector. Got nerve damage to my left arm from a stretch injury from being blasted. The blast happened on my left side, so it kind of stretched my arm out as I was holding my heavier weapon, and it caused nerve damage. Now I get severe spasms, extremely painful. Also got fibromyalgia from this traumatic event.
Christina Leiby, Chris's wife of nearly 14 years. I started to notice changes in him after his first deployment. Lots of anger, kind of out of nowhere, was less involved in our child and with me, kind of just was disengaged in general. With him returning the third time when he had been injured, that's when I noticed big changes. Migraines, his pain, he wasn't sleeping, extreme rage, just a whole slew of things.
Being in the Army, you just shove the medication down your throat and drink water, it'll get better. And otherwise, I just deal with it. And at one point, I was on 16 medications and just feeling sick from that. And then being on this, on the hyperbaric, I had no side effects except for being a little tired and feeling better. No weird hallucinations from the medications they shove down our throat. That it would be so much better for the community and our veterans.
I only wish we had found out about HBOT sooner. We had never heard of it until it was introduced to us in 2015. And I only wonder how much faster he could have healed had we learned about it sooner, being that his injury was back in 2008.
I feel like a normal person again. I'm not under the murky water, be the husband I was supposed to be. I'm out helping other people.
Ricky, veteran, U.S. Army, Atwood, Kansas.
I was in the military from 2005 to 2009. I did 2 tours to Iraq. I was around several explosions. Most of my experience was around IEDs and vehicle IEDs, and some of the explosions actually killed some of my friends and even wounded some of them, and I was just way too close to the burn pit and things like that. So I had issues when I got out. I had issues with my brain, and because my brain was rattled, my brain was having a hard time, and my emotions were having a hard time. So this went on for years, and finally I found a place that would take veterans and help them with this. Well, actually, what I did is I looked up what I needed to help me, and I found hyperbaric oxygen therapy would help. And I started looking it up, and I said, wow, that's just too expensive for me. I can't do that. And then what happened was I kept calling around and talking to people, and I actually found an organization that helps veterans use the hyperbaric oxygen therapy on their dime, so I can do it and I don't have to pay for it. And I was like, wow, I hope I get into it. So I filled out all the proper paperwork, and I really, really tried, put a lot of effort into seeing if I could get into this program, and sure enough, they accepted me, and they gave me 40 hours of hyperbaric treatment, and then later I came back to my doctor and she gave me another 20 hours. So I did 60 hours of hyperbaric oxygen therapy for free. And so I was just thrilled to be able to get that kind of therapy. And when I finished, before I started, I got an MRI, and then when I finished, I got an MRI. So we haven't got the results back, but we're going to see how much I've improved from A to B, and that was about 8 months. That was about 8 months from the first MRI to the last MRI. And now I feel much better. I feel much clearer. It used to be hard for me to look at a phone or a computer screen, but now I can do that. I'm not going to say I'm 100%, because there's still small things, but there's things that I, like tinnitus. There's a little bit of ringing, but it's significantly less than what it was before I started therapy. In fact, I don't feel it near as much once in a blue moon. And before I took the therapy, it was every day, every other day. It was all the time I'd hear ringing in my ears. And now I barely, once in a while, and I'll be surprised when I hear it. I'm like, oh, wow. So I know that I can't say that, oh yeah, I'm fixed, but I can say that my improvement is tremendous. It's a tremendous improvement by when I first started to now. And, it's taught me a lot, and I'm super appreciative to have these programs. And I encourage any veteran that has problems to take the same steps in the same program, because it's life-changing. And I really appreciate, from the deepest bottom of my heart, I really appreciate the what I've been given, and programs like these really help veterans. So I am thrilled to be able to sit here and tell you today that, if you can do it, because it's going to help.
Robin, retired U.S. Air Force, Chandler, Arizona.
When I entered the United States Air Force in 1987, it seemed like a good idea. When I deployed to Saudi Arabia for Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Southern Watch in 1990, 91, and 92, I learned firsthand that heroes are just ordinary people under extraordinary circumstances. And when I re-enlisted, I knew that service was a calling for the rest of my life. You cut me, I bleed Air Force blue, and my plan was to stay at least 26 years in the Air Force. But one of an early fall morning in 2004, I got up to go for a run with my airmen, and I collapsed on the floor next to my bed, and I was never the same. I went to doctor after doctor, being treated for everything from vertigo and insomnia to depression and weight gain. And my hair was coming out in my hands in handfuls. The fatigue was terrible. The pain in my body was terrible. But since my tests kept coming back within normal limits, I got sent to a psychiatrist. My tests did finally come back abnormal, or some of them did, and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and lupus, among other things, finding out that many Gulf War veterans had been diagnosed with these illnesses. I was actually retired after 18 years, permanently, from the United States Air Force. Whenever I try to explain it to someone who's never had what I've had, I liken it to having a flu every day. And I've had the flu every day for the last 12 years. I've had to use wheelchairs and canes, and even for a period of time, I had a home health care provider who assisted me in bathing and taking care of basic household tasks. And I had a drug cocktail that defied logic. Modafinil, testosterone, Xanax, Vicodin, you name it. In 2014, new symptoms developed. I began having trouble keeping my balance. I was running into walls, dragging my left foot, couldn't grip with my left hand. It was a concern of my doctor that I might have ALS. But I also realized that I would continue to live a lifetime of surprises if I couldn't find the root cause, or I couldn't find an actual cure for what was going on for me. I just wanted my life back, and that's all veterans want. We just want our lives back, because no disability check or rating could ever take the place of living a productive, happy, and normal life. I was a co-host on a weekly radio show last year when I heard about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBOT, and the preventable suicide rate among my fellow veterans. And shortly after that, I was introduced to Dr. Carol Hendricks in Tucson, Arizona. And since then, I've been on an accelerated path regarding the miracle that is HBOT. This was actual knowledge that the VA had, and all of these suicides could be prevented. Not only did that defy logic, it was just plain wrong. My personal experience with HBOT, I had no more night terrors. I had a decrease in pain and an increase in energy. Those night terrors, I haven't seen another one since. And because I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Hendricks, I have not only heard of the blessings that are because of HBOT, but I have met the people behind those stories. We live in a day and age where we chase down symptoms with pharmaceuticals. Yet we had to fight on so many fronts to even acknowledge the bona fide, proven miracle of healing that is HBOT. The one thing that has been proven instrumental in giving veterans and countless others suffering from traumatic brain injury and other war-induced trauma their very lives back. The fact that we have to fight so hard to make that common knowledge and a standard of care, now that really does defy logic.
Your donations are critical to providing these life-changing treatments for these veterans. It costs $12,000 to treat one veteran. Our goal is to treat 100 veterans for a total of $1.2 million. The donations are made to treat 15 veterans. Healing Arizona is an all-volunteer organization. As such, 98% of your donations are going toward these treatments. We accept many types of donations, including vehicles and cash. Please donate to our website at www.healingarizonaveterans.org. Thank you for your generosity.